Good day, everyone. And now I will be discussing the proper names and definite descriptions, some classical philosophical distinctions, analysis of reference. Proper names have long been a central concern in the philosophy of language. Currently, there are two major views. The first is that proper names are considered definite description. This is known as the description, descriptional, descriptivist theory, or proper names, or descriptism for short. This description theory is represented by the German philosopher Gottfried, the British philosopher Bertrand Russell. The second view of proper names holds that they are not definite descriptions, but they are directly referential. This is referred to as the direct referential theory. The representative of this approach is the American philosopher Saul Kripke. The descriptional descriptivist theory in French 1892 theory is the distinction is made between sense and reference of a linguistic expressions, but this distinction is somewhat anticipated by Mills 1843. Distinctions between denotation and connotation. Denotation is relation that holds firmly between word and world, that is between linguistic expressions and object and the external world. In short, a linguistic expressions can be said to be denote a class of virus sorts or extralinguistic objects in the outside world. For example, the word cat may be taken as denoting the set of all cats in the external world. In contrast, by connotation, it means the attributes or properties the object denoted by the linguistic expressions has. For example, the connotation of cat is the property of being a cat. Next, renewing now is French since reference distinction is quite similar to male connotation detonation 1. On French view, there are three basic types of meaningful linguistic expression in a language. First is sentence, second, concept words, and third is proper names. Linguistic expression of each type have been since and if not empty are referent, while by reference is meant that to which a sign refers by since is meant the meaning as distinct from reference. As French explained, the sense of the linguistic expression gives its mode of presentation of its referent. To illustrate his distinction, let me take a famous phrase from French: the morning star, the evening star. One such aspect is concerned with the expressive, effective, or emotive component of meaning, especially the use of linguistic expression which have favorable or unfavorable overtone. For example, in Bertrand Russell example I am frame you are obtained, he is pig-headed while frame rates high on the good-bad scale. Obtain the pig-headed right low on that scale. Another aspect involves the social and situational circumstances of use. Finally, connotation can also reflect the cultural association of linguistic expressions. For example, dragon in English and its both equivalent long in Chinese have quite different cultural connotation. The sense of the farmer is paraphrasable, really the brightest star that is seen in the morning. That of the letter as the brightest star that is seen in the morning. Furthermore, French argued that the reference of the complex expression is the compositional functions, that is, the combination of the reference of its parts under scientific mode of communication. Combination. For instance, the reference of the wife of Barack Obama is determined by applying the concept the wife of a function, the function from objects through to truth values to the individual denoted by the proper name Barack Obama. On Fred's view of proper name has a sense, namely, and the descriptions of its referent. Through the sense of proper name varies from speaker to speaker. For example, the proper name Aristotle can be described as the pupil of Plato and the teacher of Alexander the Great. Barack Obama as the first American president and the United States of America, and Jane Austen as the author of Pride and Prejudice. Furthermore, the sense of a proper name is similar to that of the definite descriptions. Consequently, the proper name is semantically very much like or equivalent to definite descriptions in how it refers. The direct reference theory. Contrary to the descriptional view discussed above, the direct reference theory holds that proper name has direct reference but no sense. And this directly referential but entirely devoid of its descriptive contents, or put more accurately, our proper name refers in the way that is not mediated by descriptive content. And this view of proper names, initiated by Mill 1843, has become prominent since the 1970s. One of its most influential modern proponents is Kripke. According to Kripke, unlike definite descriptions, proper names do not have a sense and therefore are not descriptive in nature. Rather, they refer directly. The reference of the proper names work via a reference prefacing chain of communication. It speaks through the initial act of veridical naming or dubbing. After that original act, the proper name is passed in form link to link and community. In the other words, on Kripke views in the casual or historical connection of a proper name that is responsible for the reference of that name to be fixed. Whether or not and to what extent a proper name has sense on the particular notion of its meaning seems to vary cross-culturally. In the Chinese culture, for example, there are many proper names that do not have meaning. And such first name is Jinhua, meaning build China, which is especially adopted for men and mainland China. So, ang Jinwa di ay sa ilaha is kanang na-adapt nga para sa mga lalaki. And another more traditional one is Yunshan, with the meaning of fairy mated with the moon. And the first name is usually for women. So, kani siya is para sa mga babae fairy. Of more interest in the pen and name of the Chinese writer who won in the 2012 Nobel Prize in Literature. It is Mo Yan, which means don't speak. The Nobel laureate said that he had adopted the pen name as a warning to himself not to be too outspoken. Mm, Aspects of Kripke casual theory were subsequently changed by the British philosopher Gareth Evans, while arguing largely with Kripke that unlike definite descriptions, proper names refer directly on Evans' view. Kripke failed to appreciate the initial role played by social context and community knowledge of the use of proper name in ascertaining its reference. First, as remarked above, a proper name is sometimes used for reference even a speaker and or the addressee have no knowledge of what it's referent. In this illustrated in 6.36 and 6.37. So in 6.36, I was asked to make an appointment with Tom Matthias, but I don't know how he is. And then 6.37, Mom just rang. I assume that wish me luck for the new job. Guess what, darling? She began. What? Elaine has invited you to their Ruby wedding, she said, pushing rightly the expectantly my mind with blank. Elaine. Breen and Elaine, Colin and Elaine. Elaine married to Gordon, who used to be head of Tarmacadam in Kettering. Elaine. She thought it might be nice to have one or two young ones there to keep Mark company. In 636, although the speaker does not know its intended referent of still the proper name nalagi hapon ang proper name proper name nakabutang is the Tom Matthias. On the other hand, in the 6.37, even if the addressee Bridget cannot figure out an intended referent initially, both and she or her mother is employed the proper name Elaine. Next, there is the case where upon hearing a noun recognizable proper name, the addressee will make efforts to achieve recognition. Consider the conventional exchange in 6.38. There used to be two Pauls in the Department of Linguistic Science of the University of Reading. Paul wants to have a word with you. Which Paul? Paul Carusori. Okay. Next is as appointed out in Hong Cross. Linguistically, there is clear evidence that the use of proper names generally takes precedency over the definite descriptions. Consequently, proper names have become the predominant recreational from their introducing human reference into conversation. For example, proceed and first name principle, namely, if you think your addressee known as the referent by personal name, use a name, and then use that name. If your addressee knows the referent in some other way, use the way that the referential form. Why this is the case? Currently, one view in the is that the predominant use of proper name is attributable to the reference to communicate via a con- concrete image and an individual rather than via abstract and personal image. The definite descriptions by role creates. So definite descriptions, another equally if not more important topic of referential inquiry in the philosophy of language is definite descriptions. Since the publication of the Russell Classics essay, the debate over the proper analysis of definite descriptions has been going or for more than a century, but despite much progress, the semantics and pragmatics of definite descriptions has yet to be worked out. Another quality of not more important topic, essential Russell analysis, unlike Mill and French, both of whom treated indefinite descriptions as be referring expressions, in which is donation intermediated by its connotation, or since French, for example, Elborn 2013 for the latest definite defense of the Phrygian view. Russell was the view that definite descriptions and the proper names, which was taken as the variety of definite descriptions in Russell analysis, is not a referring expression, and so does not refer at all. Instead, Russell analyzed the definite descriptions on a par with the quantificational NP. Strawson's analysis, Russell analysis, seems to provide the satisfactory solution of a number of difficult problems of reference in the philosophy of language. One such problem is concerned with non-existent objects such as dimension. Another has to do with language users' beliefs about referent, held as the paradigm of philosophy by the British philosopher Frank Ramsey. The Russell theory remained unchallenged for the almost half of a century. As mentioned in Chapter 3 in 1950, the British philosopher Peter Strawson published an article to show that Russell's analysis and indeed his whole narrow view of reference embodies some fundamental mistakes. On Rawson's view, Russell failed to make a distinction between a sentence and the use of the sentence via utterance on a particular accusation. In using, a speaker does not assert but merely presuppose that there exists a unique present king of the France and employs the definite descriptions of the present king of France to refer to the individual and predicate the baldness of him. In other words, according to Strawson, we the speaker use a definite descriptions to refer to an object, he or she does refer to it, assuming that the preposition is satisfied. And that is a definite expression is a referring expressions, returning to 6.40. If there is no present king of France, there is a repreposition failure. Is either true or false. There is simply a truth gap. Furthermore, Rawson argued that the extent of the widespread use of the called incomplete definite description is natural language, as in support his analysis that language user use definite descriptions as referring expressions. Sa 6.42, the road disappeared towards the border. Kripke held the view that the definite description has a single semantic meaning. However, the ability of the definite descriptions to refer should be taken not as a part of its semantics but as of the pragmatics. That is, as part of a speaker meaning. A speaker may use a definite descriptions to refer on an object in a theoretical world, but it does not mean that the definite description itself refers to the entity by virtue of its semantics. Thus, according to Kripke, Donnellan's distinction is not a semantic one but the pragmatic one. In other words, the distinction should be accounted for in pragmatic terms following the footsteps of grace. Kripke distinguished between semantic reference as part of what is linguistically encoded and speaker reference as part of what speaker intends to convey by means of uttering the linguistic expression. By semantic reference is meant reference to what is denoted by a referring expressions. That is to say, semantic referent of a referring expression is the referent that referring expression has in the particular language, and it's determined by the conventions of what language. By contrast, speaker's reference is reference to an entity which a speaker wishes to talk about in the use of the particular referring expressions on the particular accusations. In other words, a speaker referent of the referring expression is fixed by what speaker intends to refer in a given situation. Two people see Smith in the distance and mistake him for Jones. They have a brief. What is Jones doing? Ranking the leaves Jones in the common language of both is named for Jones. It's never names Smith yet. In some sense on this accusation, clearly both participants in the dialogue have referred to Smith, and the second participant has said something true about the man he referred to if and only of Smith's was raking the leaves, whether or not John's was. In this case of mythification, although both participants use the proper names Johns, and they have clearly referred to is Smith. Therefore, John's the man named by Johns. In the semantic referent, the Smith is the speaker. Referent for an example involving definite descriptions and for an involving demonstrative. Thus, appointed by Leveson, script semantic speakers referent distinction is one between semantic correctness on the one hand and pragmatic success with semantic error on the other. More precisely, that is the distinction between the proper semantics use and an improper but occasionally successful use of the referring expressions. Furthermore, Kripke argued that the speaker general extension give rise to semantic reference and its or her specific extension on a given accusation to a speaker reference. And that's all for my topic, and Sorry for my voice because kanang giubo ko gisipon ko karon maglisod ko og kanang kuan sa mga words. And that's all. Keep safe everyone.